Hey, everybody. Hello. Who do we got? Hi. Hey, everybody. So, hello. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing navigating this pandemic? How are you doing with news of Senator Sanders leaving the presidential race? How are you doing? How's your heart doing? How's your head doing? I hope you're well. I hope you're not sick. So, I wanted to pop on here and hey Tim, I wanted to pop on here and um, say a few things, say several things. Um, Hola, Natalie. So let's start with my shirt. Yeah, that's right. I said let's start with my shirt. Well, no, let's start with the flag. Let's start with this flag. This is like a vintage American flag pin. It was my grandmother's. Fun fact, my grandmother was a lifelong staunch Republican, and she said the only Democrat she would ever vote for would be me. Unfortunately, she passed away about 16, 17 years ago, so she won't get to vote for me, but I think about her a lot. Anyway, and she was in the Women's Auxiliary with the VFW, and um, so I actually really like some symbols. I like the American flag, and I especially like it because when I think of the American flag, I think of the promise that this country holds and the potential that this country holds, that still holds. And it holds that promise and that potential because you are watching me say these words. In other words, you are here. I am here. And as long as those of us who want true justice for everyone are still here and still willing to stand up and fight for what we believe in, then this still means something to me. This still means something to me. So that's important. And a whole lot of people over the entire existence of this country have given their lives for this nation to continue to exist at different times. And that's a whole other very lengthy digression, as all of us all know. We're not going to get off into the weeds that far today. But my grandfather fought in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II, and he was never the same. He was never the same. He suffered a lot from post traumatic stress disorder. He became an alcoholic when he came back. And like a lot of World War II veterans, didn't ever want to talk about what happened until he was very, very late in his life, until several years before he passed away. He talked a little bit about it then, but mostly he didn't talk about it. Anyway, point being, this flag means something to me for a lot of reasons. The other thing let's talk about is my shirt. My shirt says, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." It says, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." We are the ones we've been waiting for. It doesn't say candidate X is the one we've been waiting for. Candidate Y is the one we've been waiting for. It doesn't even say, as much as we respect and love him, it doesn't even say Bernie Sanders is the one we are waiting for. He will be the first one to tell you. He's the first one to tell you that change happens from the bottom up. It happens because of all of us working together. It doesn't ever happen because of one candidate, ever. Never. So It's okay to be upset. It's okay to take a minute and cry and scream and be really pissed and be angry that that the candidate that best exemplified the values that you hold in your heart, that desire that you have for everyone in this country to have health care as a human right, that desire that you have for racial justice, for social justice, for worker justice, for a living wage, for people, for children to be invested in this country in a big way, for every single person in this country to live a life of health and dignity. Those things that you feel, they're still here. They didn't go away because a candidate dropped out of the presidential race, because you're still here. I'm still here. So we have an election on June 2nd here in Iowa. And we have the opportunity to put forth a nominee for the Democratic Party who exemplifies and wants to fight for those progressive values, who wants to fight for healthcare as a fundamental human right. Human rights are not for sale. Human rights are not commodities to be marketed and bought and sold to the highest bidder or those who can afford them. They shouldn't be. I hear you through the screen saying, yeah, well, they are for sale. They are buyable. I feel yeah. They shouldn't be. Healthcare should be a fundamental human right. And I believe that. If you believe that, please go to KimberlyForIowa.com, KIMBERLY for Iowa.com. There are lots of different opportunities there for you. You can volunteer to text bank or phone bank. And of course, you can donate to our campaign. And let's talk about money. People don't like to talk about money, but we got to talk about money, guys. Money is power. Money is choices. Money is important. We have to talk about a living wage. We have to talk about unions. We have to talk about companies paying their people a living wage, right? And we have to talk about money in relationship to politics and relationship to campaigns. I have 5 full-time staffers. They don't get paid enough, frankly, but they do get paid. We have to be able to pay them. I'd love to be able to buy some yard signs. Do you know how much yard signs are? One of the quotes we got, which is about middle of the road, is $6,000 for 1,000 yard signs. We had to buy the voter file from the Iowa Democratic Party. Cost $60,000, 60,000, just to purchase the voter file that we need to be able to text bank, phone bank. It's what we would have needed to knock on doors. Of course, we can't do that now. But I'm saying all this to make you understand that campaigns cost a lot of money. And someday we will have publicly funded elections and we won't have to worry about this. But that day is not yet. So if you are broke because of this pandemic or broke before the pandemic, I completely understand. Don't worry about this. If you are fortunate to have the resources to have some extra money right now, give it to a friend or a family member, please, who needs it, who needs it to stay in their house, who needs it to buy food. If you are even luckier than that and you have a few more extra bucks, we will gladly accept it for this campaign. And we will take that money and use it wisely to go and put forward progressive values and to work as hard as we can to get to the United States Senate so that regular working people have somebody standing up and fighting for them. And it takes money. So we need your donations if you can do it. And if you can't, ignore everything I just said, because it's okay and I totally understand. So, look over here. Do I have questions? Do I have... Oh, thanks, Boots. Also, Carrie, this will be saved to the page, so you can share it later, I believe, or share the link to it later. So thanks so much to everybody too, I'm sure that a lot of you who will end up seeing this have already donated, possibly multiple times. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We 100% couldn't do this without you. Absolutely could not. Thank you, Trey. Trey, you're the best. Everybody, Trey is a high school senior who lives in southern Iowa, who's a big, big supporter of our campaign, and he's the best. He's awesome. Yeah, we were lucky actually to win the Iowa Youth Straw Poll. Not lucky, I guess, but to win the Iowa Youth Straw Poll twice. So that's been amazing. And that's a great idea, Holly. Yes, we absolutely can do that. We can do that. Yep. We have some graphics that we could toss out on the campaign page and so forth. We'll talk to our art director, Jason, and get some stuff out. Um, and yeah, what else? I think partially because I put about 40,000 miles on my car between June of last year and March of this year when we had to stop campaigning in person. We won the Des Moines Register MediaCom poll that came out a couple weeks ago. You guys, we won. This was not a little poll. This was like 800 people. This was like the kind of poll they do for presidential races and presidential polling, or have done. Obviously, some polls are larger, but this was like a pretty large sample. And we won. We had the highest favorability ratings, and we had the most name recognition. And we did that on 1/10 of the budget of the what DSCC backed candidate, the kind of DSCC endorsed candidate. Yeah, you can sign. There's a link. There'll be a link over there, over there. There'll be a link over there to sign up to volunteer. That would be awesome. Pat, the reason that we don't send you emails is probably because the voter file costs $60,000 and we were just recently able to purchase it. And we're still working on extracting emails out of that voter file. But you can sign up. Yeah, if you want to receive our regular emails, then you can sign up at KimberlyForIowa.com, Pat. But yeah, so some of the other candidates who were able to self-fund, one of the other candidates running for this seat has contributed or loaned his campaign over $1 million, over $1.5 million, I think. And that's great. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for people that are able to do that and have those kind of financial resources, but I don't. So the other campaigns that have a lot more money behind them, a lot more either self-funded or corporate money, have been able to buy that list a long time ago. Yeah. But in spite of that, we're still doing very, very well. I'm kind of pleasantly shocked at how well we're doing, but it actually just supports my belief that the people of Iowa, if you talk to them and if they believe you're authentic and you're doing this for the right reasons and that you're truly going to go and do your best and stand up and fight for them, they will be with you. Period. I think most Iowans are smart enough to know that you're not going to get everything you want and you're not going to win every fight. But if they believe you're doing your best and you're standing up and being vocal and persistent about what the people of Iowa need to live lives of health and dignity, then they're going to be with you. I think that's how Tom Harkin won re-election after re-election after re-election after re-election. Tom Harkin won when Ronald Reagan got elected, you guys. And I think one of the things about Tom is that, I've had the good luck to meet Senator Harkin a couple of times in the last year, and I don't know, I think I have a decent gut instinct, and what I get from Tom Harkin is that he truly cares, and he's authentic in his care for human beings, and that he really wants everyone to live lives of health and dignity. So, by the way, he won every county in Iowa except one once. So this whole idea of red counties in Iowa, I think, is nonsense. I understand what they mean by that there's, the Republican registrations far outnumber Democrat voter registrations in a lot of counties in Iowa. I believe most Iowans really just want somebody who's going to stand up and fight for them. So, hey, Jacob. We have a Latinx and immigrant outreach director, actually. So, yeah. I don't know exactly what community you work with. So, if you want to send us an email at info@kimberlyforiowa.com, then we'll be in touch. Obviously, now the only thing we can really do is a virtual event. We're putting out a graphic today with all of our virtual events on that are listed, and we're doing actually 2 immigrant town halls, Jacob. One is this Saturday at 11, and one is the next Saturday at 11 a.m. So you can push those out to your community. So we're doing not 1 but 2 town halls on immigrants. Yep. Anybody have any questions? Concerns, gripes, requests? You just want to say you're bummed? I feel ya. Yeah. So, we move on. We move forward. We move forward. Because true and authentic movements for justice, I don't think, unfortunately, are ever going to have an end. We will always be working toward justice, toward the famous line, a more perfect union, right? That's never going to stop. Never, never going to stop. Where do we go from here? We go to the U.S. Senate, Trey. And hopefully we get Paula Jean Swearingen elected in West Virginia as well, who's also somebody who believes that healthcare is a human right. And then we keep standing up and talking about this. And especially, unfortunately, with this pandemic, I think that more and more and more and more Americans, even though the majority of Americans were already for some kind of universal single payer program, I think that this will even highlight that even more. So I think we're only going to see more people coming to the awareness that that's what is just, that's what is right, that's what is moral, is to have a universal single payer healthcare system in this country. Did we have a virtual town hall for Floyd? I think we physically went to Floyd. I think. I can't remember. If we did not, then we had a virtual town hall. I think all the past town halls that we've done that have been either virtual or in person are listed under events tab on our Facebook page, Carrie. So you should be able to look there. Bridget asks how we talk to Democrats here in Iowa about why the progressive candidate is the right choice right now. Bridget, here's what I would tell you. Don't say the progressive candidate. What? Here's what I mean by that. Okay. So besides being an attorney for abused kids and for parents in the Iowa courts for the last 20 years, something else that I have done is I've been a mediator. I'm a certified family mediator in Iowa, which means that I've been certified by the Supreme Court of Iowa, that I've completed 40 hours of mediation training, but I've been a mediator for about 17 years. Sorry about the train over there. The train noise. You learn a lot mediating people's divorces. If you want to know how to be a good mediator, then mediate people's divorces, because that involves people's children, strong emotions, it involves money, it involves their home, right? It involves all of these things that are incredibly personal and important to people. So when you learn how to successfully mediate divorces, you learn a lot about human nature and about human beings and about how they think. And when I say they, I mean me, I mean us, how we think, how, the nature of humans. One of the things that you learn, Bridget, is that labels and buzzwords create walls. And it's not to say that we never want to use labels or buzzwords. They're valuable. Labels and buzzwords, when used with the right people, are a shorthand, right? When we say progressive, when you and I say progressive, Bridget, we know what we mean. I think we do. But a lot of people don't. And so the issue becomes when you say to someone like something like, "Hey, progressive values are the way to go right now, especially given this pandemic." I'm not saying you would say exactly that, but you know what I mean. People that don't self-identify as a progressive are going to immediately shut down, or put a big wall up, or fold their arms and decide that they know what you're about to say. And so the way that you speak to someone who is not already considering themselves a progressive is you do what humans have done forever. You talk about values through stories. Values through stories. What do I mean by that? So the one that comes to mind, because it's pretty fresh, in my mind. A lot of us knew a wonderful woman named Robin Stone, who was the former Delaware County Party chair here in Iowa. And Robin was very progressive, right? She was for Medicare for all. And Robin was diagnosed with a rare form of thyroid cancer last summer. And she wanted to go to the Mayo Clinic because my understanding was that there were specialists there that had experience treating her particular type of thyroid cancer, and that she felt she would have had the best chance for the best treatment there. And Robin had insurance, but the Mayo Clinic was out of network. And they wanted something like $16,000 to let her walk in the front door at the Mayo Clinic because that was out of network. And Robin passed away, I believe it was in November of this past year, of 2019. And would she have continued to live if she'd been able to go to the Mayo Clinic? Which she would have been able to do under Medicare for All, right? Because there's no in-network and out-of-network with Medicare for All. You just go to the doctor that you believe will provide the best treatment to you. We won't know. We can't know if she would still be here or if the last few months of her life would have had a higher quality to them. But it would have been really great for her to have been able to go to where she felt she had the best chance to survive her cancer. And it's stories like these, and probably all of us know someone who has, as we sometimes say in this campaign, an American healthcare horror story, right? Some tragic, awful story about surrounding healthcare in the United States of America, in the wealthiest nation on earth. And sharing those stories with other people is such a powerful way to have them consider supporting a candidate who is willing to stand up and fight for a universal single payer or Medicare for all system. And the reason I say "or" is just because who knows ultimately what's going to be approved or what the bill is going to look like. But we know what we mean, right, Bridget? So I just find that stories are really effective. A little kind of analogy that I've been sharing with people for the past couple of months about healthcare is one that I tell a lot. And that is, Bridget, I also don't use the term free. You won't ever hear me say free college, free healthcare, free whatever, free. It's not free. It's not free. I don't sugarcoat things and I don't BS people. I tell it like it is. But here's the way that healthcare should work in a wealthy and moral nation. It should work like a library, meaning the librarian gets paid, the building utilities get paid for at the library, the books cost something and they get paid for. But when I walk into a library, I give them my library card and I walk out with a book. I don't give them a debit card, I don't write them a check, and I don't get a bill in the mail. Because we all have decided as a society, as a nation, that we want public libraries and that they are valuable. And it's the same thing with healthcare. I think we are very close to where we are all deciding, or a lot of us, more than half, are deciding that healthcare for all is a fundamental human right. Human rights should never be for sale. Human rights should not be commodities to be marketed, bought, and sold. So healthcare as a human right means it looks like a library. You walk in, you hand them your healthcare card, you get whatever treatment you need, you leave the doctor, you leave the hospital, and that's it. You're never going to get a bill in the mail, and you're never going to get out your debit card. That's what we have to keep working toward. Pat, what about Joe Biden? Well, if your choice is between Joe Biden and President Voldemort, then I hope to God I don't need to tell you. I will just tell you this. I will be voting for Joe Biden if the choices are between Joe Biden and President Voldemort. And I really, 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 really encourage y'all to do so too. And you can choose not to do so. Of course, that is your right. And I understand being very angry. Yeah. I wish we had different. I wish we had different. I wish we had a different choice. Yep, you're welcome, Bridget. Yeah, I hope that my mediation skills will be very valuable in the U.S. Senate. I hope so. That's my hope. Well, I'm going to sign off, you guys. Thank you so much for coming on here and spending 26 minutes, 27 minutes here today. Always feel free to reach out to me. Anybody who's ever sent me a personal message or a personal email can tell you that I will get back to you personally. I don't have staffers answer emails, or inquiries from Iowans if it's something that I feel like I need to answer myself. So, yeah. So thanks, you guys. And, truly keep the faith. This movement continues. It was this movement that Senator Sanders was so important in, is so important in, existed long before Senator Sanders. And it will exist long after Senator Sanders. I have a 20-year-old son. And this movement for justice for all, like truly justice for all, is ongoing. It's ongoing. And we have to stay in it. We have to stay in it. I'm going to butcher this saying. I usually do. But what's that saying about the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. So we can't do nothing. We have to stay in this, and we have to keep fighting. So thanks, you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Love you all. Bye.